So today we're going to look at changing from standard form to slope intercept form. So standard form is a x, and the a is that first number, plus b y equals c. So a is the first number of the x, b is the second number of y. That's that standard form. We're going to change it to slope intercept form, which we've been doing. Y equals m, which is the slope, x plus b, which is the y-intercept, which is why it's slope intercept form. Slope intercept form. Do that. So we're going to draw our line down this. The first thing we need to do is we're solving for y. So we're changing this to this. That means we're solving for this letter y. So we need to get rid of the 7x and that minus 2. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and, since this is plus 7x, remember that third step, we distribute, combine like terms, get rid of the extra variable. We're going to pretend this is an extra variable. So since we're plus 7x, we're going to subtract 7x from both sides of the equation. These are opposite operations. They're gone. We are left with negative 2y on that side. Now, these two cannot combine. They are not like terms. So since slope intercept form has that mx first, you're going to do negative 7x minus 8. Negative 8 and negative 7x are not like terms. You cannot add them together. So basically you're adding negative 7x to 0x and negative 8 to 0. That's what you're getting. All right. Now we're going to try to get rid of that right there. That negative 2 times y. Since that's negative 2 times y, we're going to divide everything by negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1, or it's gone, and we are left with y. We are not, this part right here, we are not going to divide that. However, because we want that rise over run, so we're going to leave that slope part as it is slope. However, we have two negatives. So those two negatives will become positive. So it's 7 over 2x. But we are going to go ahead and do the division here. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 is positive 4, or plus 4. And that's the answer. That's what we're looking for. So we can, that's our y-intercept. We put at first dot on our y at 4, and then we would go 7 spaces up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 2 spaces and run, put a dot there, and we'd graph that. We'd probably do a second dot and do that, or a third dot, I should say. So this is what we're doing, okay? We're going to get rid of that x first, and then we're going to divide by the number in front of the y. 2 steps. But we're going to leave this right here. And I know it's kind of weird. I don't have my document camera today. I took it home and voila. Gone. All right, so we move to the next one. Here's number 2. Same thing. We're actually doing that third step where we have an extra variable. Since this is plus 3, we're going to subtract 3x from both sides of the equation. Our plus 3x and minus 3x are opposite operations. They're gone. We're left with just 2y on this side. Guys, that has an x. That does not have an x. They cannot go together. And since it's y equals mx plus b, that mx comes first. That's this negative 3x. Then we just bring down the negative 10. They are not like terms. They cannot be combined. And then the last step is to get rid of this 2 right here in front of the y. Well, that's 2 times y, so we're dividing everything by 2. Anytime you multiply it, to multiply everything by 2. Remember, we put the parentheses and put a 2 if we're multiplying it? This is dividing it. Everything needs to be divided by 2. These are opposite operations right here. They're gone. We're left with just the y. We are going to leave this right here as it is. Negative 3 over 2x. The bottom is non-negative, therefore you cannot make it all positive. If one is a negative, throw the negative to the top. We are going to do this part. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. This becomes our answer. If we were going to graph that, we'd go all the way down to negative 5 on the y-axis, and we'd go down 1, 2, 3 spaces, put it up. Sorry, we don't put it out there. We go down 1, 2, 3 spaces, and then we go over 1, 2 spaces, and that's where our dot goes. And we do the same thing, 1, 2, 3 spaces, and 1, 2 spaces, and we put a dot, and then we have our line. So we're going to be doing that graphing later. Don't worry about that graphing, but I'm just trying to prepare you for what's coming up. Yes? Nope, we haven't done that yet. This is, we're getting rid of just the 2, not the y. So here, this is the plus or minus because we're doing the whole thing. We're going to subtract 3x from both sides. When we get here, this is 2 times y. We want the y. We're not getting rid of the y. If you were to subtract 2y, the whole 2y would go over here, and this would be 0 on this side. We're only getting rid of the 2. So up here, what we're getting rid of is this part and this part, and not the y. Here, it's an extra variable. We're going to add subtract the whole thing, which is what we did. We subtracted 3x. That disappeared. Here, we're trying to get just rid of the 2 because we want the y. Okay? Good question. All right, let's look at this one. Real quick, the first thing that I want to do, of course, draw my line. I want to notice that right here, I have just a negative, so I'm going to put a 1 there. It's negative 1. So once again, we're getting rid of 2 things. The 3x and just the negative 1. The y stays. So since it's plus 3x, we're going to subtract 3x. Now that's our third step. Remember getting rid of the extra variable step? Distribute compile terms, get rid of the extra variable. It's the same principle what we're doing here. So our plus 3x minus 3x, those are completely gone. We're left with that negative 1 times y. These 2 are not like terms, therefore I want to put the x first followed by that because, guys, that is slope intercept form, which I have been showing you. The x comes first. Now, I'm not getting rid of the y, I'm just getting rid of the 1. So I actually want to divide by negative 1. Okay? So we're just getting rid of the 1s. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is 1. 1 times y is just y. That's that whole process that I've taught you over and over again. All right, here, right here, we want to leave this 3 over 1. And the reason is because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Okay? So it's just 3 over 1 x. I know that you could put 3x here, and more than likely on your answer sheet, it's probably going to, well, you won't have an answer sheet for these. By the way, you're going to notice there's no answer sheet because this is actually for graphing. We're just going to do this part of the graphing process, and then we're not going to graph. We're going to graph later. This part, we are going to go ahead and divide negative 4 divided by negative 1 is positive 4. Notice a negative divided by a negative ends up being a positive in your answer. This is also acceptable, I know, but if you were doing this and you were going to graph it, you would throw that 1 over there anyway. Why is that? Because when you go to graph, you're going to go to 4 is your first dot, that's this part, and then you would go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1, that's this part. And then you put another dot, and then do it in reverse. 1, 2, 3, and back. All right? Don't worry about this part. We'll get to it. All right, once again, draw your line. There's no number in front of this, is there? So we're going to put a 1 there. First thing we're going to do, get rid of that x value. The whole thing. So since it's plus 7x, we're going to subtract 7x. We want to get rid of that because we want to solve just for the y. Opposite operations are gone. We're left with 1y equals. Remember, not like terms. The x goes first because it's y equals mx plus b. and we bring down the 3, but we want to put a plus there. Do not put the 3 next to the x because that would be multiplication, and that's not what we're doing. Our last step is get rid of this in front of the y, so we're going to divide by 1. Our 1 divided by -1 is gone. You actually could have just left it as it sits, but that's okay. We're going to do it. We're going to do all the math. Since we put that 1 there, we're going to finish it off. -7/1, you're going to leave it. There's not 2 negatives. This is a positive, so we're fine. We don't need that. We are going to do the math here. 3 divided by 1 is 3. So there you go. You kind of had that up here, but we didn't need to do it. And you put your dot at 3, you would go down, you would go down 7 and right 1, and then do it in reverse. Same thing here. You want to throw that 1 in front of the x. We just threw the 1 in front of the x. Since it's +1, we're going to subtract 1x. Now, some of you, if you're very, very observant, would have noticed that for some reason in this program, they never ever put a negative number here, but it does occur. So make sure that you understand that if this were -1x, you would add 1x to both sides. Opposite operations are gone. 4y equals, again, not like terms. Either one of them, not like terms. So the x goes first, followed by the constant -16. And if it were just 16, you'd put +16. We're going to divide by the number in front of the 4, or in front of the y. That's this number. That's the number we're dividing by because we're getting rid of those numbers. Opposite operations, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times y is y. We are going to leave the slope -1/4x. If there were 2 negatives, if 4 was negative, then you would change it to all positive. But since 1 is negative, we put the negative at the top. We will do this -16 divided by 4, which is -4. Y-intercept slope. And this is a negative slope, so the line would be going downward. From left to right as I read, it's going downward. All right, that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I know this is a little bit different format. You're not seeing me pointing my finger. I used arrows. It's the same thing. If you don't get it, that's okay. I understand. I'll be on it at 1:50, or if you email me, I can get on at another time with you. So hopefully it worked out. This is new, but it's not tough. We're just using our 5 steps that remove the extra variable and then remove what's multiplied or divided. So hopefully that'll work out. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye.